Good day, mates. How you going? Let's keep the world clean. Yeah, so I do want to talk about like some Earth Summit project. Yeah, some of you might have heard of uh, of this. Yeah, if you haven't, today's the day I share a little bit about that. Yeah, for instance, um, I'll discuss with you guys here some environmental issues that are affecting our planet because today is the day that we also um, we celebrate. We talk about like the worth in keeping the worth, yeah, the planet clean. Yeah, so we'll try to do some research, or perhaps I'll ask you some questions. Yeah, I'll try to involve to engage with you, and if you can, yeah, you got some other source like a phone or some book or something like that, or if you have that information, you could be answering some questions that I'll have about environmental issues. Yeah, and present. Yeah, share your opinion. It's good to have your opinion here. Yeah, to have your engagement. Yeah, just a little bit of a note here. Earth Day is on April 22nd. Yeah, um, but this project, yeah, is actually being shared today by myself because today is the day that we talk about keeping, yeah, the planet clean. So I'm going to share some ideas with that, and of course I'll be also sharing some vocabulary, yeah, some stuff that you could be using, yeah, some words, some expressions you could be using when talking about such a topic. Yeah. So yeah, let's get started. And what do you think are the most serious environmental concerns in the world today? Yeah, what is a problem? What are the biggest problems we have in the planet today? Now, these are some questions for discussion. Yeah, it could be trash, yeah, being thrown in the planet. Yeah, it could be people doing bad things to other people in the planet. Yes, because violence can also be, yeah, a situation, yeah, that causes, yeah, other, yeah, bad behavior in people in the world. Yeah. And what are the most serious environmental concerns in the city that you live now, where you live? Yeah. What are the biggest problems nowadays? Yeah. And what are Earth Hour and Earth Day? What are these expressions, Earth Hour and Earth Day? And what is a summit? Yeah. We'll get to all the point because I said I'm sharing a little bit about the Earth Summit project. Yeah. Um, Well, the first, a little bit about that. The first United Nations Earth Summit took place in Rio de Janeiro, yeah, in Brazil in 1992, and in 2002, a follow-up summit. It was called Rio Plus 20, was organized. Yeah. So if you know something about this United Nations Earth Summit, please, that took place in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. Please share something, share what you know about that, yeah, with me about this event that happened in Brazil in Rio de Janeiro and here, which is a more important environmental issue in the world. Is it climate change or is it the ocean garbage? Yeah, is it the garbage, the trash that people throw in the ocean? Which one is the biggest problem, the more important environmental issue? Should people worry? Of course, they should worry about both. Yeah, but what I'm saying here is, should people worry more about um, the climate change itself, or should people worry more about the ocean garbage? Yeah, what's your opinion about it? You could be sharing your opinion. Yeah, here in other videos. Yeah, or yeah, if you can engage, yeah, that sounds pretty good for sure. Now, here are some words that we can use, yeah, when we are talking about topics like that. For instance, what is the greenhouse gas? What's a greenhouse gas when we talk about keeping the planet clean? Well, greenhouse gas is the gas that contributes to trapping the heat in the Earth's atmosphere. A good example of greenhouse gas, if you don't know what a greenhouse is, you know, when you try to keep your plants, yeah, in a greenhouse. So there's a lot of heat inside. And in some cases, yes, for some types of plants, it helps the plants grow. So you can take these plants out of that greenhouse and put these plants in another place for them to grow. This is the idea of a greenhouse. Yeah. So is greenhouse gas is we have the sun. So we take the sun, we have the earth, the planet where we live. The sun, well, naturally, the sun should bring the heat. Yeah, the sun rays, this rays, they would hit the earth, yeah, the planet, and they would come out of the earth. So it would be hot and a little bit colder. Yeah, because the sun heat would leave the planet. But what really happens is with a lot of pollution, yeah, from a lot of sources, I'm not going to mention a lot of sources here, but the pollution is here right above the earth. So what happens is this heat, yeah, from the sun hits the earth, and when it's about to come out of the earth, the pollution, yeah, stops this heat from coming out. So it traps the heat, and the heat gets back to the earth. Yeah. When this happens, and then it tries to get out again, but then come back in again, and stays here in the atmosphere. And being trapped in on Earth, this is what happens, yeah, to the climate when we say like climate change, global warming, yeah, because the planet starts to be warmer, yeah, because of this greenhouse effect, yeah, because it's this gas that contributes, yeah, because this gas, yeah, this pollution, yeah, is right there. Now, what is a carbon footprint? Well, the carbon footprint is, oh, move that one. Well, the amount of greenhouse gas that we individually produce, that we are contributing, yeah, to the damaging, yeah, to the damage that we are causing to this planet through pollution. For instance, I'm not saying these are bad things. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that, but okay, you are driving a car. This car is polluting the environment. So as this pollution is being produced as you drive a car, yeah, you are. This is your carbon footprint. This is the mark of pollution that you are leaving on this planet. Yeah. So this is the carbon footprint. Yeah. People who smoke, as you are smoking, yeah, the smoke is producing pollution. And as you are producing pollution, this is also, yeah, the carbon footprint that is being produced. Yeah. So what is the word freakish? Well, freakish is something that is not very usual. It's something that is very odd, very strange. For instance, with the global warming, with the climate change, yeah, with a lot of garbage in the ocean, there is a lot of freakish weather or even freakish things, yeah, things that are not usual happening. Very strange things, yeah, freakish, crazy things happening with the planet. Yeah. Things that a lot of people might not explain, like why is this happening? Why is this ice melting? Why is this bad thing happening to the planet? Yeah, they are freakish. They are freakish. Sorry, they are weird things happening. Now, what's tackling? What is the word? Why is the word tackle important for this context? Well, tackle basically because tackling is, oh, wait up. Tackling is to fight something. Yeah, so you find a solution for something. For instance, oops, for so yeah, we are fighting something. So we are tackling something. Yeah, we are trying to solve that problem. So if we are tackling, yeah, this issue, we can try to solve it. Yeah, so we see a problem. Okay, a lot of people throwing garbage in the ocean. Yeah, how can we tackle this problem? How can we face this problem and attack this problem in order to try to solve this problem? Yeah, of course, we have our individual, yeah, attitudes, behavior. That if we don't do that, we are already helping the planet to be a better place. Yeah, so this is a way of tackling a problem. This is a way of fighting a problem when we do not hurt the environment ourselves. Now, what is a cover up? Well, a cover up is definitely when something is trying to be prevented from the truth coming out. Yeah. And of course, we should know, yeah, that there are a lot of things in the media that are a cover up. Yeah, a cover up because the media, a great part of the media. I'm not saying everything, everyone, but great part of the media cover up, yeah, all the damage, the planet and other stuff, yeah, the dark stuff that are happening in this planet. They are covering up. They are not telling us. Now, what is the importance of cast out, the expression cast out for this topic? Well, casting down is convincing, yeah, other people something that they thought was true, something they believed in the past. Yeah, so when I'm casting doubt on someone, it's like you believe, let's say, for instance, for example, you believe in climate change. But then I say climate change isn't real. Yeah, because, or perhaps it is real, but then it's a natural process. It has nothing to do with pollution. And I start to give you some ideas on that or some facts on that. I'm casting doubt on you. Yeah, I am making you believe something that you do not know about. Yeah. And we also have the word skeptic. What is the importance of the word skeptic? Well, a skeptic is important because it's a person who don't believe something is true. So if you are a skeptic person, you do not believe something is true. Yeah. And or perhaps you have a lot of doubts about something. Yeah? And even if you do some research, yeah, it will be difficult for you to believe that something is true, something is real. When it comes to keeping the world clean, is it possible to clean the whole planet? Yeah. Well, this is very difficult, yeah, to believe that the world will be clean because by building things on this planet, we are already damaging or making our planet dirty. But yeah, it could be possible to keep the world clean. But then climate change. Do you believe in climate change? Yeah. Some people are skeptic about it. Some people do not believe that this is true. They don't believe in the climate change because perhaps they don't have enough information, enough knowledge that proves to them, that is evidence to them that the climate change exists. Yeah. It could be true, it could not be true, but people will believe, skeptic people will believe when they have a lot of evidence about it, not just one or two things that will show that that thing really exists. Now, when I say something is time sensitive, what is the importance of that? Well, when something is time sensitive, it's because it needs to be taken care in a very short time. It needs to be quick, solvable. Yeah. So if we say that climate change, yeah, or cleaning our planet, cleaning our earth is a time sensitive topic, it's because it's a topic that needs to be taken care quickly before we have bad, terrible consequences. So some topics are more time sensitive. That's why I ask, like, okay, sure, I'm asking climate change or ocean garbage, which one is more important? Both are important. I'm not saying one is not important and the other one is important. What I'm saying is the idea here is which topic is more time sensitive? What is the topic that is more important to give more focus, more energy to that problem? We give energy for both problems, but which problem should we give more energy to? Yeah. And when something is undeniable when it comes to this topic, what is something undeniable? Well, something undeniable is something that we can't deny, something that for sure is true. Yeah. And some people would say if they are not skeptic about the climate change, yeah, and about the world being dirty nowadays, yeah, with a lot of pollution, some people could say that um, it is undeniable that the climate change exists. Yeah, so it's undeniable. It's true that the climate change exists. Yeah. And what is the importance of the expression off the hook for this context? Yeah, well, the expression off the hook basically means that someone is not responsible for something. So I could say, I am off the hook on this one. Yeah, I'm not responsible for that. Yeah, they want to keep, some people want to keep themselves off the hook. They do not want to be, yeah, responsible for something that is happening on the planet. So that's another thing. Yeah, when we talk about keeping the planet clean. Now, sure, yes, a lot of scientists, yeah, they around the world, they agree, yeah, that humans are largely to blame for the warming for our planet. Because again, the warming of our planet is because of the pollution. And we humans, yeah, including myself, yeah, we humans, we produce pollution in this planet. Yeah, driving cars, taking buses, or cooking, or eating some specific types of food, or smoking. Yeah, a lot of habits, they produce pollution. Yeah. Even when we fart, yeah, we are producing pollution, I guess. Yes, it's impossible to live without producing pollution. But I think the discussion is, how much pollution are you producing, and how much of this pollution can you clean or can you avoid in order to have more or less the same quality of life? Yeah, pretty much the same quality of life you have. Is it possible to reduce your carbon footprint and still live a good life? Well, that's the discussion here. Yeah. And well, over the past like 50 years, yeah, temperatures, as people say, yeah, and there's like some facts about it, they have increased. 50 years ago, maybe the same period, it was colder, but now it's hotter than in the same period, yeah, in years ago. Yeah, let's say that. So yeah, we have freakish weather. Yeah, freakish weather. Yeah, strange weather, odd weather, like heat waves. Yeah, heat waves, like periods that it's like for usually for a shorter period, but periods that is extremely hot. Yeah, for a period. Droughts. Yeah, droughts when there's no water. Yeah, in the planet. So uh, in the planet is too much, but there's no water in a specific location. So you can say, oh, my city is going through a drought. Yeah, a drought is there's no rain, there's no water, so it's become pretty difficult. Thank you. And hurricanes as well. Yeah, because believe it or not, yeah, the climate change, yeah, the heat, the hot weather. Yeah, there's like this. I can come back with a little bit of science lesson in another session. We can talk about that. But global warming, sure, it helps create more hurricanes. Perhaps in the past, people could say in the past there were less hurricanes than there are today. Tornadoes. Yeah, today there are more tornadoes, hurricanes, because the temperatures are hotter. Yeah, and there is like this thing with the hot temperature. Uh, and the hot water in the ocean, plus like the pressure of the air and in the sky like being colder. So these temperatures, they shock and they start forming like this form of a tornado, hurricane, and this is the event that we see. Yeah, but this topic could be for another session for sure. Yeah. And um well, of course, tackling, yeah, trying to solve this problem, tackling the climate change was not a priority for some governments. Yeah, and why would you say like it's not a priority for some governments? Is it because it's a natural thing, or is it because they want to cover something up? They don't want to talk about something that people should know, but they won't know Yeah, because why people should not know? Why would they have the power to know something and people would not have the power to know something? Well, that is another question to be asked. Yeah. Now, of course, um, is it okay to benefit financially from oil, from gas, from coal? Well, it could be. Yeah, but what can these people do also to avoid, to decrease, yeah, the amount of pollutants and perhaps improve the clean energy alternatives usage for themselves? Yeah, how can they improve the way they produce things in order to pollute less? It's possible. Of course, it's possible. Yeah. Now, do you think all these things, all this freakish weather, all this crazy weather, hurricanes and droughts, all this stuff happening in the world, do you think this is Mother Nature's warning signs? Do you think this is the planet, yeah, the forest, giving giving us signs, the Earth giving us signs that something is happening to the world? Do you think that is? Yeah, we have environmentalists. Yeah, they saying that the first place, yes, humans would see undeniable evidence of global warming would be in the Arctic. Yeah, because I have shared a lesson here with some vocabulary about the Arctic as it's melting, as the Arctic is melting, and as it's melting, yeah, the ice, like an ice cream melting, yeah. Um, well, it's causing a lot of things like the increase of the sea levels, yeah, in the Arctic, yeah, the ice, the sea ice, yeah, could be non-existent in some years, yeah, because every year it's melting, melting more and more, yeah, and um, it is said that this is a dangerous sign for the planet, perhaps because of the greenhouse effect. Yeah, it could be dangerous because the planet without ice, yeah, and with more and more heat, it could be just a sign actually, not necessarily that this not having the ice is bad. But come on, if there's no ice, if there's no cold, and it's always hot, imagine it becomes every year hotter and hotter and hotter. People are going to start to melt or not be able to breathe because of the pressure in the air, oxygen, yeah, and we could um, lose our lives quicker. Yeah, I'm not saying this is going to happen in this generation. It's not soon. Yeah, but it could happen though. Yeah, and of course, the global warming affects the whole planet. For those who believe in that, for those who are not skeptic, and um, yet a lot of people, they want to be off the hook. They don't want to be being off the hook. Yeah, they want to be responsible for that. Yeah. So um, what is the solution that we could have to have a cleaner um, planet? Now, what's the importance? Sharing just a little bit more of vocabulary here for you. What is the importance of the word debris? Well, debris is basically, oh, here, every leftover, yeah, or every trash, yeah, from usually maybe a destruction or something. Let's say we get a building, yeah, and this building collapses. As this building collapses, yeah, all these broken parts of the building, we can call them debris. Yeah, debris, debris. Now, what is the importance of the word current for this context? Well, current is the constant flow of the water. And perhaps as I was speaking about the Arctic, yes, as the ice in the Arctic melts, increases, yeah, the level of the sea, and it's possible big waves, big currents of the water can occur because there's the ice is melting in the Arctic, so they can increase the current, yeah, the flow of the water in the planet. Now, what is the importance of the word, the expression microplastic? Yeah, for this context. Well, what's microplastic? I think the name speaks for itself. Yeah, tiny bits of plastic. Yeah, small pieces of plastic. Is microplastic. Yeah. And perhaps it could be, I don't know, when people take, and I was talking about climate change and ocean garbage, people take a plastic bottle and they throw this plastic bottle into the streets. The wind blows this falls into the ocean. Yeah. Or stays on the street, but falls into the ocean. With as time passes, yeah, this plastic will become, break into smaller pieces. Yeah, animals will go there and give it a bite or something like that. It will become smaller and smaller and smaller until it becomes microplastics. Yeah, and microplastics, even for us humans, when if you like to eat snacks, these microplastics, they can stick to your brain, to your body parts, your stomach. And this could be very unhealthy for you in the long run. And for some people, and in some cases, for some biotypes, it could be very, very bad in the short term. Yeah. And for small animals as well, like small fish and stuff like that. Now, what's the use of the word the naked eye? The naked eye. Well, the word the naked eye is something that is um, not possible, or actually something that is possible to see with your eyes without binoculars or glasses or something like that. So you can see, for instance, um, I can see a big piece of plastic with the naked eye in the ocean. So I don't need binoculars to see that in the ocean. But if it's microplastic, I can't see that with the naked eye. Yeah, I can't see that. I need to use a binoculars or maybe a telescope or something like that. Now, what's the importance? Another expression we can use to talk about ocean climate change, keeping the planet clean, yeah, is ingest. Now, when do we use the word ingest? Well, when we're talking about eating or swallowing, and that relates to the microplastic I've been speaking about, because it's possible, in the food we eat. You guys have like Tupperwares. Yeah, if you clean your Tupperware with the green part of the sponge, the rough part of the sponge, or you even make it hot, like the Tupperware, the plastic, especially if it's plastic, this plastic comes off little by little with microplastic, with as microplastic, and we ingest this microplastic with the food without noticing. And this is very harmful for us humans. And that relates to another expression I want to share here when we talk about this topic, and that's hazard, because the word hazard is a danger. So it is a hazard, it is a danger to eat these microplastics every day. So the less we can use the plastic, the more we can avoid plastic in our lives, the better. Yeah. Is it possible to avoid 100%? No. I think in today's world it's impossible to avoid plastic, but the more you can avoid, the healthier you will be. Yeah. Now, I know some of you will say like SpongeBob if you watch cartoons, but I have another expression here, and that's plankton. What is plankton? Yes, plankton from SpongeBob. But what is that plankton? Plankton is the tiny organisms in the water that fish feed on. Yeah, so plankton, the fish eat the planktons, yeah, which is funny, because if you watch SpongeBob, the fish, they don't eat plankton. Or, I don't know, perhaps plankton hides pretty well. Yeah, but yes, that's the idea of plankton. It's like the small thing, the microorganism, from tiny organism, from the ocean. And what is the expression malnutrition? Well, malnutrition is an expression we can use to talk about this topic, and it is having not enough nutrients to sustain a healthy life. So if we eat a lot of things that are um, unhealthy for us, like snacks and things that are produced that usually are in plastic bags, these things that are in plastic bags, besides being of a big damage to the planet, yeah, with the production of these things, it is also bad for us with the sense that that it brings us malnutrition. It causes us to have malnutrition. It causes us to have uh, not enough nutrients that we need to stay healthy. Another expression we can use to talk about this topic of keeping the planet clean is entangle. Now, what is entangle? When do we use entangle? Entangle is you got to stuff on something. Yeah, like speaking of ocean garbage, it's possible people who are fishing or something like that, they fish with big nets. They throw these nets to get some fish. They lose the net, or part of the net is cut off, and part of this net stays in the ocean. So it's possible that a lot of animals, small fish or even big fish, yeah, they are entangled, yeah, on these nets, yeah, or these ropes that people were fishing on. And these animals will die underwater because they will not be able to feed themselves, to ingest food for themselves. Yeah. Well, another expression that we can use that is very important for this context is nuisance. Now, what is nuisance? Nuisance. Nuisance is something that makes an experience difficult or problematic, if I could say that. Yeah. Um, so I could say people could make a nuisance of themselves when they do not believe something. Yeah. They can cause some inconvenience. They can be annoying because they don't believe something and they also don't want to learn something. So it's always important to be open-minded, listen, learn. If it's really something that you disagree with, or you don't believe such a thing, okay, it's okay to disagree, but it's not okay to act with violence against that person, yeah, or to mistreat someone, yeah, or to make a nuisance, yeah, of other people or even yourself, yeah, because you disagree. Okay, have an intelligent conversation. Yeah, people deserve that. People have different opinions, and that's okay. But and there is fact, there's opinion. So you got to know the difference between fact and opinion, but also respect for everybody, yeah, including the planet. So we live on a clean planet. Yeah. And we also have the verb, in this case, as a verb, litter. What's the verb litter? Litter. Li, excuse me, Tti. Well, the word litter is to basically discard the trash, the garbage, carelessly. You don't care about it. Yeah, you just take whatever that thing is and you litter. Yeah, you litter, you take the trash, throw on the streets. So you are littering. Yeah. A lot of people on this planet, they litter. They throw trash on the streets. Yeah, and littering is unhealthy. It's not cool. Yeah, you make the planet dirtier, you produce more pollution. A lot of animals die because of that. Yeah, even people might die because of that. So, yeah, let's think about it. Yeah. And another expression we can use when speaking of the topic of keeping the planet clean is sewer. Yeah, and that's the conduit that we have underground, yeah, for the drainage of water and waste matter. Some people, some companies, they use the sewer for I don't know, to find a way to clean this water that goes underground, yeah, to keep the planet clean. Yeah, because example, I was giving now using these expressions here in a little bit of a conversation with you. Marine debris, yeah, they come in all shapes, sizes, and depths. Yeah, like when um, boats crash, they sink. Yeah, the boats, they go under the water, they hit the ocean floor. Yeah. the they start like with the time, yeah, um, they start to kind of dissipate or something like that. Yeah, so they start breaking into smaller parts. Yeah. In this case, you could say, yeah, this debris, yeah, they also become trash, yeah, to our ocean. They become garbage to our ocean, and due to the ocean currents, yeah, when the water keeps moving with the ocean, yeah, um, this trash, yeah, heap, it continues to grow more and more and more and more. Yeah. There is even a name. You can even do some research on that, but it's called Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Yeah, and that is an area where the current takes a lot of the trash to that area. Yeah, and this area is filled with a lot of trash. Yeah, you can call this Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Yeah, and a lot of marine biologists, yeah, they look, yeah, at the ocean garbage, yeah, and um, they find that most of the debris that we find on the planet, they are made of plastic. Yeah, and like I said, over time, yeah, the sun reduces this plastic into tiny pieces, and these tiny pieces are the these tiny pieces are the microplastic. Yeah. And of course, it's difficult to see with the naked eye. Yeah. And a lot of the scientists, they started studying that. Yeah. And they saw that a lot of thousands, like of birds, yeah, and sea creatures, they were ingesting these microplastics and even bottle caps. Yeah. Because of all this trash that people are littering. Yeah. Um, and they say like birds. Why birds? Because birds eat fish as well. Yeah, and they eat the plastic that goes to the shore. Yeah, the beach. They eat that plastic. So birds are also affected by it. Yeah, and and ingestion of plastics isn't the only hazard of marine trash, is it? Because um, the debris, they reduce the amount of sunlight because there's a lot of trash. There's not a lot of sunlight in that area. Yeah, beneath the ocean surface, and some algae, plankton. Yeah, they need an algae like these plants and these planktons. They are food for the fish. So with more trash in the ocean, less sunlight into the ocean, more these things they start to die, and there's less and less production. Yeah, and this results in malnutrition for a lot of fish because they eat a lot of bad stuff. These fish, either they die or they are fished by us. We eat fish that have a lot of plastic too in their system. So it's unhealthy for everybody. And I still don't understand like how can a lot of people not see that by littering, by throwing trash onto the streets, they are causing harm for themselves as well, not just for the animals, not just for other people, but themselves when they eat this food that come from this source. So yeah, this is definitely pretty sad. And also the sea creatures, like I said, they get entangled in the trash. Yeah, like nets and big ropes and all the kind of stuff. Yeah. And um, well, um, well, that's pretty much for that part. And I think I could stop more or less on this part. And I leave that question for you. Yeah, and I hope actually some of these opinions, some of these ideas help you think better about how you or things you could do to take better care of our planet. Yeah. Well, thanks for your time for watching this lesson. I hope you learned some expressions. Yeah, through this lesson. Always take top 2 or 3%. Yeah, 2 or 3 expressions, yeah, that I share in my lessons and try to create sentences with them. Come back in my videos, write expressions, Yeah, with these expressions, these sentences, these words that I share here with you, so you expand your vocabulary knowledge. But also just listening to me, trying to interact with me, yeah, this is good as well. So yes, thanks for sharing your time, and stay sharp, keep practicing. Practice makes better. Cheers.